Have you ever had that feeling, that you just don't quite fit in? Well, we're going to dive into a single word that captures that exact feeling and a personal story that might just change how you think about failure and success, for that matter. Okay, let's start with the word itself. Misfit. I mean, it's so literal, right? A person who has missed fitting in. And if we're being totally honest with ourselves, that definition might feel a little familiar, maybe a little too close to home. And this is where our story really begins, with someone who doesn't just feel this label. She owns it. She claims it. This is author Lidia Yuknavitch, and she puts it right out there, almost like a rallying cry, for anyone who's ever felt like they're on the outside looking in. So, does that hit home for you at all? Have you ever had that moment? If any of that feels familiar, then stick with me, because this story is for you. We're about to explore a perspective on this that is, well, it's not just powerful, it's genuinely beautiful. All right, so here's where the plot really thickens. It all starts with a dream come true. That one big break that so many of us hope for? For her, it arrived in the mail. So for a short story she wrote, Lidia Yuknavitch wins this massive literary prize. And this isn't just some plaque for the wall. This is the whole shebang. It's a trip to New York City, meetings with huge editors, agents, basically a golden ticket to launch her career. But her reaction was not what you'd expect. Instead of celebrating, she spent the entire day just frozen. Her first thought wasn't joy. It was this crushing wave of doubt. Who the hell was I? And that feeling, that question, it wasn't new. It was coming from a place deep in her past. So this is where it gets really, really interesting. Why? Why would she react that way? Well, to get to the bottom of that deep, deep self-doubt, we have to look at the life experiences that forged her identity as a misfit in the first place. I mean, just look at this list. It's a lot. Her life was this collection of what society basically labels as failures, right? From her family life to her marriages to school to just surviving, it felt like she had missed the fit in every major life category, really cementing that feeling that she just didn't belong. Wow, what an image. That's how she describes it. The dream was there, for sure, but it was trapped. It was like this physical weight, the stone of shame from her past, that was literally choking her, keeping her from even speaking her dream out loud. But here's the thing. Even with that stone in her throat, she got on the plane. She went to New York. And what happened next was, well, it was a masterclass in self-sabotage. Her dream was put right in front of her, not once, but over and over again. This is almost painful to read, right? First, her absolute dream publisher, we're talking the publisher of T.S. Eliot, asks for a book. And her response? Complete silence. Then, a huge editor at another press basically begs her to send something. It takes her 10 years to do it. And then, the kicker? A top agent offers to represent her right there on the spot, and she says, I have to think about it. She walked away from every single open door. So what on earth was going on? It clearly wasn't a lack of talent. It wasn't a lack of opportunity. It was something way deeper. It was a profound internalized shame. The shame that comes with wanting something good for yourself and that paralyzing belief that you just don't deserve to be in the room where it happens. So she flew home, no book deal, no agent, just this overwhelming feeling of failure. But, and this is a really big but, that is not where this story ends. In fact, this is where it begins to pivot into a whole new way of thinking about failure itself. This is the new myth for misfits. When she got home, the words of the other women writers she'd met, her mentors, kept playing in her head. And they weren't telling her to go chase success. They were telling her to tell her story, the messy one, the one that only she knew how to tell. And they suggested that maybe, just maybe, the act of telling it is the thing that saves. I love this slide because it lays it out so perfectly. On one side, you've got the classic hero's journey we all know. Follow your dream, slay the dragon, win the prize. But Yuknavitch proposes something totally different, the misfits myth. In this story, your failures aren't things to overcome. They're portals. You find the beauty in the moment of failure. And the goal isn't one big win, it's to just keep reinventing yourself over and over. And so that's exactly what she did. She wrote her memoir. And in doing it, she reframed her entire life. All those moments of missing the fit, of failing, they weren't just failures anymore. They were transformations. Or, in her amazing words, they were weird-ass portals to something beautiful. And this, right here, this is the heart of it all. This is the core of the Misfit Smith. Your value isn't defined by your successes. It's found right there in the moment you think you failed. Your beauty is in your resilience. It's in your courage to stand up in the middle of the mess and begin again. Which leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. For anyone out there who has ever felt like a misfit, your story, especially the parts that feel like failures, the parts that make you different, that's not your weakness. That is your unique, incredible strength. And that's a story that deserves to be heard.